I'll write an interesting 800-word story for Part 1, the encounter in third-person style, using simple and basic English without headings. The deep hum of the Horizon's engines filled the quiet research vessel as it drifted through the empty space between star systems. Dr. Kim Jin sat at her workstation, eyes fixed on the data readings from their latest deep space survey. Her dark hair was pulled back in a simple ponytail, and her fingers tapped rhythmically on the console. "Jin, we have something on long-range sensors," called out Li Han from the navigation station. "It's small, moving erratically." Jin looked up from her work, curiosity sparking in her eyes. As the ship's lead xenobiologist, anything unusual caught her attention. "Can you put it on screen?" The main display flickered to life, showing a small object tumbling through space. It was clearly not a natural phenomenon. The metal shell reflected the distant starlight in brief flashes. "It looks like some kind of pod," Jin said, leaning forward. "And those markings, they're not from any human vessel." Captain Park Tae entered the bridge, his calm presence immediately felt by the crew. "Assessment? Unknown craft, sir. Possibly an escape pod based on size and trajectory," Han reported. "It's leaking radiation in a pattern consistent with damaged propulsion systems." Tae nodded slowly. "Any life signs?" Jin checked her readings and her breath caught. "One life form, weak but present, not human." The captain made his decision quickly. "Bring it aboard. Jin, prepare the containment lab for possible first contact protocols." Hours later, Jin stood before the retrieved pod in the ship's large cargo bay. The sleek design was unlike anything humans had created. Its surface shimmered with an almost liquid-like metal. Small characters in an unknown language decorated its hull. "The atmospheric readings inside match our own surprisingly closely," Jin told the small team gathered around her. "We can open it safely." With careful precision, the engineering team bypassed the pod's locking mechanism. As the seal broke with a soft hiss, Jin held her breath. The top panel slid open, revealing its occupant. The alien lay unconscious. Its body was humanoid, but clearly not human, with pale blue skin that seemed to have a subtle luminescence. Jin noticed immediately that the alien was injured, purple fluid seeping from a wound in its side. "It needs medical attention," Jin said, medical training overriding her scientific curiosity. "Let's move it to the lab carefully." In the medical lab, Jin worked quickly to stabilize the alien visitor. Despite the obvious differences in biology, she recognized enough similarities to adapt human medical procedures. The alien's circulatory system followed logical patterns, and Jin managed to stop the bleeding. "The wounds look like weapons fire," said Yoon Soo, the ship's security officer, examining the alien's torn clothing. "Something or someone was attacking it." Jin nodded grimly as she applied a bandage to the wound. Whatever happened, it was running from something dangerous. The alien's eyes suddenly opened. They were large and entirely silver with no visible pupils. It jerked upright with surprising strength, speaking rapidly in an unknown language, the sounds musical but urgent. "We're friends," Jin said softly, making calming gestures with her hands. "You're safe now." The alien stared at Jin, clearly trying to assess the situation. After a moment, it seemed to relax slightly, though wariness remained in its silver eyes. It pointed to itself and said a single word. "Lyra." "Jin," she responded, touching her own chest. "Jin." Through basic gestures and drawings, they established rudimentary communication. Lyra came from a species called the Lycerians. Her research outpost had been attacked without warning by raiders she called Voraxians. As Jin reported their progress to Captain Tae, the ship's alarm suddenly blared to life. "Captain, 3 ships just dropped out of faster-than-light travel," called the tactical officer through the comm system. "They're not responding to hails and are on an intercept course." On the bridge's main screen, 3 dark predatory ships approached. Their design was aggressive, with sharp angles and weapon ports clearly visible along their hulls. "Voraxians," Lyra whispered from behind Jin, having followed her to the bridge. The alien's silver eyes were wide with fear. The largest ship transmitted a message in a harsh guttural language. The ship's computer struggled to translate, but the meaning became clear. Return our property immediately or be destroyed. Captain Tay stood tall, his face set in determination. We don't trade in lives here. Shields up. Jin turned to Lyra, seeing the surprise in the alien's eyes at the human's immediate decision to protect her. We won't let them take you, Jin said firmly. Though she wasn't sure Lyra fully understood her words, the horizon trembled as the first energy blasts from the Varaxian ships hit their shields. They were a research vessel, not a warship, and everyone knew their defenses wouldn't last long. All hands, prepare for emergency maneuvers, Tay ordered calmly. Let's show these Varaxians what humans can do when backed into a corner. Jin and Lyra exchanged looks. Against all odds, a simple research mission had just turned into humanity's first interstellar conflict. The horizon shuddered as another blast from the Varaxian ships struck its shields. Captain Park Tay gripped the command chair, his face calm, despite the danger. Shields at 60%, reported Choi Min from Tactical. They're trying to herd us toward the larger vessel. Tay nodded. Before joining the research fleet, he had served 15 years in Earth's Defense Force. Those combat skills, dormant for years, now surged back. Rotate shield frequencies on my mark, he ordered. Then full thrust to bearing 121 Mark 45. Doctor, Kim Jin held onto a railing as the ship lurched. Beside her, Lyra the Lycerian alien watched with wide silver eyes. Your ship cannot outrun Varaxians, Lyra said in halting English. She had been learning the language with remarkable speed over the past hours. We don't need to outrun them, Jin explained. Just outsmart them. The ship dove suddenly, the artificial gravity struggling to compensate. On the main screen, the three Varaxia ships scrambled to adjust their pursuit. Captain, called Li Han from navigation. There's a dense asteroid field ahead. It might provide cover, but it's risky. Tay's lips curved into a small smile. Perfect. Take us in, full speed. The horizon plunged into the field of tumbling rocks. Some were small as cars, others massive as mountains. The Varaxian ships followed, their larger size making navigation more difficult. They're still gaining, Min reported. And our shields won't withstand. Another direct hit. Tay leaned forward. Vent plasma from the port nacelle. Make it look like they damaged us. The ship released a visible trail of glowing particles. Behind them, the lead Varaxian ship accelerated, sensing weakness. Now, Tay shouted. Han executed, a maneuver that would have been impossible for most pilots. The horizon spun on its axis using a large asteroid for cover, then accelerated sharply upward. The pursuing Varaxian ship couldn't adjust in time and clipped the asteroid, sending it spinning. The other two are still on us, Min said, and they're calling for reinforcements. In the medical bay, Jin helped Lyra to a bed as the ship continued its erratic course. Why do you help me? Lyra asked. Varaxians will destroy your ship. Your people. Jin secured a medical device to Lyra's arm to monitor her healing wound. Because it's the right thing to do. Lyra tilted her head. My people believed humans were primitive, simple. We were wrong. On the bridge, Tay studied the tactical display. We need to buy time. Han, set course for the gas giant in this system. We'll use its magnetic field to mask our signature. As they approached the massive planet with swirling storms, Tay ordered the ship to power down non-essential systems. The lights dimmed and the constant hum of the engines faded to near silence. Now we wait, Tay said softly. Hours passed in tense silence. The crew spoke in whispers, as if the Varaxians might hear them through the vacuum of space. Jin used the time to learn more about Lyra and her people. Varaxians take other species, Lyra explained, drawing symbols on a tablet to aid her limited vocabulary. Use them. For work. For study. Slavers, Jin said, feeling anger rise within her. They're slavers. Lyra nodded sadly. My research team, all taken. I only escaped. Jin placed a gentle hand on Lyra's blue shoulder. We'll help you find them, if we can. The ship's communications officer, Kang Do, suddenly called through the internal system. Captain, we're receiving a transmission. It's being broadcast on all frequencies. On the bridge, the main screen displayed a harsh-faced alien. Its skin was gray and leathery, with bony ridges where eyebrows would be on a human. When it spoke, sharp teeth flashed. "Attention, human vessel. You harbor our property. Return it immediately. This is your final warning." Tay stood straight, facing the screen. "The person aboard our ship is not property. She is under our protection." The Varaxian commander's face contorted in what might have been amusement. "You do not understand your position. We have tracked your engine signature. Reinforcements arrive soon. Your primitive vessel cannot escape." "Perhaps," Tay replied calmly. "But we're not as primitive as you think." He cut the transmission and turned to his crew. "Prepare for emergency jump to faster than light. Plot a course to the nearest human outpost." Min looked worried. "Sir, our engines weren't designed for combat jumps. The strain could tear the ship apart." "It's our only chance," Tay said. "Sometimes you have to roll the dice." As the Horizon's engines powered up, the sensors detected 5 more Varaxian ships, emerging from faster-than-light travel. "Jump now," Tay ordered. The stars stretched into lines as the Horizon leapt into FTL travel, the pursuing Varaxian weapons fire missing them by seconds. In the medical bay, Jin held on to Lyra as the ship shuddered violently around them. Their eyes met, human brown and alien silver, united in their hope for survival. Against the odds, the Horizon had escaped. For now. The Horizon limped into the Centauri trading station, its hull scorched from the desperate escape from Varaxian pursuit. The station, a massive wheel-shaped structure, spun slowly against the backdrop of a blue-white star. Ships of various designs docked at its many ports, representing a dozen species from nearby systems. Captain Park Tay stepped onto the station's main concourse, flanked by Dr. Kim Jin and their alien guest, Lyra. The Lysarian drew curious stares from the station's inhabitants. Few had seen her kind before. The Lysarians were known to be reclusive, rarely venturing beyond their own territory. "We need to contact Earth authorities immediately," Tay said, leading them toward the communication hub, "and find someone who might know more about these Varaxians." The station manager, a tall human named Song Jun, greeted them with concern. "Captain Park, your ship looks like it went through hell. What happened out there?" "We encountered hostiles. While rescuing a survivor," Tay explained briefly. "I need a secure channel to Earth Command." While Tay made his report, Jin took Lyra to the station's observation deck. The Lysarian stood transfixed by the view of ships coming and going. "My people stay in our own space," Lyra said, her command of English improving by the hour. "We think other species not worth knowing, especially humans." She turned to Jin. "We were wrong." Jin smiled slightly. "Many species make that mistake about us." "Varaxians take advantage," Lyra continued, her silver eyes darkening. "They attack isolated outposts, take people, equipment. No one notices because no one talks to each other." Jin's eyes widened as she understood. "They've been doing this systematically? To multiple species?" Lyra nodded solemnly. "My research team was studying star patterns. Varaxians came, took everyone. I escaped an emergency pod." Jin took Lyra's blue hand in her own. "We'll help you find your people." Captain Tay found them. Later, his face serious. "Earth Command is sending a diplomatic vessel. The situation is bigger than we thought." 3 days later, a sleek diplomatic ship arrived at the station. From it emerged 5 humans in formal attire and, to everyone's surprise, 3 Lysarians. The meeting took place in the station's largest conference room. The Lysarian diplomats entered with an air of superiority that quickly faltered when they saw Lyra. The lead Lysarian, who introduced himself as Maru, spoke in perfect English. "We were informed a human vessel rescued one of our researchers. We did not believe it." "Believe it," Tay said firmly, "and we've learned something your people should know." Lyra stepped forward, addressing her people in their musical language. The Lysarian diplomats listened with growing alarm. When she finished, Maru turned to the humans with new respect in his eyes. "Lyra tells us you protected her at great risk to yourselves," he said, "and that the Varaxians have been conducting raids across multiple territories." "That's correct," Tay confirmed. "And based on the intelligence we've gathered, we believe they've identified a human colony as their next target." The lead human diplomat, Director Yoon Na, spoke up. "We're proposing a joint operation. Your technology combined with our tactical experience could stop these raiders before more lives are lost." Maru hesitated. "The Lycerian Council has long held that isolation is our best protection, engaging with other species, especially in military matters. Has that isolation protected your missing research team?" Jin asked boldly. "Or the other Lycerians who've disappeared?" Maru's silver eyes met Jin's brown ones. A long moment passed between them. "Perhaps," he said finally, "it is time for the Lycerian people to reconsider some of our oldest beliefs." In the days that followed, an unprecedented alliance took shape. Lycerian technicians worked alongside human engineers, upgrading the weapons and shields of Earth's defense vessels. Human tactical officers shared battle strategies with Lycerian commanders who had little experience in combat operations. At the heart of this cooperation were Jin and Lyra, bridging cultural gaps, translating technical terms, and forging understanding between their peoples. One evening, as they worked late in the station's laboratory, Lyra showed Jin a holographic map of the sector. "Varaxians will attack here next," she said, pointing to a small human mining colony. "They think humans weak, easy targets." Jin looked at the map thoughtfully. "They're about to learn they're wrong about us." Lyra's expression grew serious. "Jin, my people say Varaxians never act alone. They serve others, more powerful. We may face greater danger than we know." Jin nodded slowly. "Then we'd better be ready." Above the station, the combined human-Lycerian fleet gathered, a sight no one had ever expected to see. As Jin watched from the observation deck, she felt both pride and fear. Humanity's first interstellar alliance was about to face its first true test. The combined human-Lycerian fleet moved silently through space, approaching the small mining colony of New Prospect. 6 human vessels flanked the 3 larger Lycerian ships, their sleek designs contrasting with the practical, sturdy human crafts. On the bridge of the lead Earth vessel, the Defender, Captain Park Tae studied the tactical display. "Sensors detect Varaxian ships entering the system," reported Officer Choi Min. 8 vessels. Heavy weapons configuration." Tae nodded grimly. Right on schedule, they weren't expecting resistance. Dr. Kim Jin stood beside Lyra at the rear of the bridge. The Lycerian's silver eyes were fixed on the display, her blue hands clasped tightly together. "Remember the plan," Tae said to his crew. "Let them think they have the advantage until they're fully committed." The human ships powered down, appearing disabled or abandoned. The Lycerian vessels cloaked themselves using technology they had never before shared with humans. To the approaching Varaxians, the small mining colony looked defenseless. "There, taking the bait," Min whispered. Varaxian vessels spreading out to surround the colony. Tae activated the ship-wide communication system. "Strike team, prepare for deployment." In the launch bay, Tae joined the small team of human and Lycerian special forces. Their mission was simple but dangerous. Infiltrate the Varaxian command ship while the fleet engaged the other vessels. "Remember," Tae told the mixed team, "we need their command codes to disrupt their fleet coordination. Get in, get the data, get out." Their small stealth craft launched silently, using the mining colony's debris field for cover as they approached the largest Varaxian ship. Above them, the trap was sprung. The Lycerian ships decloaked behind the Varaxian fleet, and the supposedly disabled human vessels suddenly powered up. Caught in a crossfire, the Varaxians scrambled to respond. "They're in disarray," came the report from the Defender. "They've never faced a coordinated attack before." While the battle raged, Tae's team attached their craft to the Varaxian command ship's hull. Using cutting tools, they created an entry point and slipped inside the dark, cramped corridors. Their internal security is minimal, whispered Kim Yu, the team's security expert. They never expected enemies to board. They moved quickly toward the ship's command center, guided by schematics Lyra had helped create based on the escape pod's systems. 2 Varaxian guards fell silently to stun weapons before they could raise an alarm. When they reached the command center, Tay signaled for a 3-point entry. On his mark, they burst in, overwhelming the unprepared Varaxian officers. "Secure the room," Tay ordered as his team moved efficiently to restrain the alien crew. One Varaxian, clearly the captain, snarled at Tay. "Humans are supposed to be weak, easy prey. You were misinformed," Tay replied coldly. The team's technical expert, Lysarian Officer Talon, quickly accessed the ship's main computer. What he found made his silver eyes widen. "Captain Park," he called. "These command codes, they're not Varaxian. They're receiving orders from another source." Tay joined him at the console. "Can you trace it?" "Not precisely, but the communication protocols match those used by a species from beyond the outer rim. The Krell." Meanwhile, on the Defender, Jin and Lyra worked frantically in the science lab, analyzing Varaxian shield frequencies captured during the battle. "There," Jin said suddenly, pointing to a pattern in the data. "Their shield modulation has a recurring flaw every 42 seconds. Lyra nodded excitedly. "If we time our weapons fire precisely..." Jin hit the communication. "Panel. Bridge, we found a weakness in their shields. Transmitting targeting data now." Across the battlefield, human and Lysarian ships adjusted their attack patterns. Precisely timed shots slipped through momentary gaps in the Varaxian shields. One by one, the raider ships lost power or retreated. On the command ship, Tay's team downloaded crucial intelligence before setting charges to disable the vessel. As they retreated to their craft, Tay's communicator crackled. "Captain, we've received your data transmission," came the Defender's voice. "The fleet is turning the tide. Return immediately." As their small craft detached from the crippled Varaxian ship, Tay looked back at the battle. Human ingenuity combined with Lysarian technology had achieved what neither could alone. The Varaxian threat was not eliminated, but for the first time, they had been defeated, and more importantly, they had discovered who was really pulling the strings: mysterious beings called the Krell, manipulating the Varaxians from the shadows. "We've won this battle," Tay said quietly to his team, "but I think we've just discovered a much larger war." The grand chamber of the Earth Diplomatic Center gleamed with polished marble and crystal chandeliers as representatives from 27 worlds gathered. At the center of attention were the Varaxian prisoners, their gray skin looking dull under Earth's lighting. Captain Park Tay stood tall as he addressed the assembly. "The intelligence we gathered confirms what we suspected," Tay said. "The Varaxians were not acting alone. They were under the control of the Krell, a species from beyond known space." The lead Varaxian prisoner, Commander Draz, stepped forward. His once proud posture was now bent with the weight of revelation. "For generations, we believed we acted for our own glory," Draz admitted, his harsh voice subdued. "The Krell implanted devices in our leaders, controlled our actions, made us their hunters." Murmurs spread through the gathered diplomats. The Lysarian representative, Maru, exchanged glances with Earth's ambassador. "How many other species serve?" "The Krell unwittingly?" asked a diplomat from Proxima Centauri. "We don't know," Tay answered honestly. "But we do know they've been manipulating species against each other for centuries, keeping us isolated, weak, divided." In the months that followed, the alliance that began between humans and Lysarians expanded. Joint research centers were established on Earth and Lysaria Prime. The once secretive Lysarians opened their borders, sharing their advanced technology, while learning human adaptability and resourcefulness. Dr. Kim Jin directed one such center in Seoul, where scientists from both worlds worked to understand Krell technology. Lyra served as the lead Lysarian researcher, her knowledge of both cultures making her invaluable. "The neural interface we recovered from the Varaxian ship is unlike anything we've seen," Jin said, examining a small device under a microscope. "It bypasses conscious thought entirely." Lyra nodded, her silver eyes troubled. My people have legends of shadow beings who turn friends into enemies. We thought they were stories to frighten children. Jin reached out, briefly touching Lyra's blue hand. Sometimes old stories have truth at their core. Their work together had grown beyond professional collaboration. Despite their different worlds, they had found common ground in their curiosity, courage, and growing affection for each other. One evening, as cherry blossoms floated on spring breezes outside the research facility, they received unexpected visitors. Captain Tay arrived with a group of rescued aliens, including 5 Lycerians. We found them on an abandoned Varaxian base, Tay explained. They were in stasis pods, experiments. One of the Lycerians stepped forward, her eyes finding Lyra's. "Sister," she said weakly. Lyra rushed forward, embracing her long-lost sibling. "Nara, I thought you were gone forever." As the rescued researchers recovered, they shared crucial information about Krell operations deeper in unexplored space. Earth and Lycerian intelligence services worked together, mapping Krell influence throughout known space. 3 months later, the United Worlds Council convened its first session. Representatives from 42 species gathered to form a mutual defense pact against the Krell threat. At the ceremony, Lyra was named the first Lycerian ambassador to Earth, a position that recognized her unique role in bringing the worlds together. After the formal proceedings, Jin and Lyra escaped the crowds, finding peace on a quiet balcony, overlooking the Pacific Ocean. The setting sun painted the sky in brilliant oranges and purples. "My people once thought the universe was cold and empty," Lyra said softly. "That isolation was safety." Jin smiled. "And humans once thought we were alone." "Now we face a common enemy," Lyra said. "But we also found friends, allies." She paused, her silver eyes meeting Jin's brown ones. "And more." Jin reached out, intertwining her fingers with Lyra's blue ones. Different in form, but similar in the things that mattered. "Whatever comes next, we face it together," Jin said. As stars began to appear in the darkening sky, they stood side by side, 2 beings from different worlds united by chance, choice, and courage. Behind them, representatives of dozens of species worked together, planning, building, preparing. The Krell had sought to keep the galaxy divided and weak. Instead, they had inadvertently created the strongest alliance the stars had ever seen, one sparked by a single act of compassion when a human rescued an alien in need.